Fans are back, and it didn't take long for there to be an incident as Russell Westbrook had popcorn thrown on him in Philadelphia. I'm Robin Lundberg here with Bill Enright and Ben Pickman, and afterwards, Russ appropriately said, that wouldn't have happened to him on the street, and the NBA needs to protect its players. Bill, what's your reaction when you see something like this?
My reaction is way to perpetuate the stereotype, Philly fans. Here's the definition, very scholarly definition, I may add, from Urban Dictionary. Classless sports fans who have turned collective whining into an art form. And it goes on. Ghoulish hooligans who deserve the annual hope suckage created by the early playoff exits by the Eagles and the Flyers. And we all know the many examples of Philly fans throwing things at players. We saw it with Russell Westbrook, and popcorn is actually the least harmful of all the things they've thrown. They threw a beer can at Ryan Howard, a cheesesteak at Chris Baker, a snowballs at Santa Claus. Their own former head coach admitted that they threw batteries at him when he was their quarterback. This is the same group of fans that cheered when Michael Irvin was laid out on the field motionless after an injury. They did the same thing to Victor Cruz, and perhaps the worst example of Philly fans was when a fan was being escorted out of the stadium and he intentionally vomited on an 11-year-old girl with her dad. Our own President Biden, described Philly fans as, quote, the most informed, the most obnoxious. And that really sums up their entire fan base. And it's really a shame that this had to happen with fans now coming back into stadiums for the first time in over a year.
Well, look, Philly fans have a reputation, and obviously some of it is earned, but this isn't just a Philadelphia thing. We've seen this in other places as well. The problem I have, Ben, is that there's not really much you can do about it. Like, what is the discipline or the punishment that changes it? Because they can ban this fan, but does that stop the next one?
Probably not, Robin, right? This, I think, reflects a broader systemic issues with fans and how they act and how they conduct themselves when they go to arenas and the kind of lure the spectator, the spectacle of it all, right? They think there's this lure aura of invincibility that there really isn't, right? There's no place for what happened on Wednesday night to Russell Westbrook. There's no place to what appeared to happen to Trae Young as well in New York, right? This isn't just a Philadelphia issue. You see in the Knicks game that a fan appeared to spit in the direction or on Trae Young as well. This was two incidents on one night, one of which in Russell Westbrook that's getting a lot more attention. But the Trae Young moment also deserves the same amount of attention because these are players, people really, who have no ways can protect themselves from these moments, right? As Russell Westbrook said, that's a large part of the frustration. No one would ever pour popcorn on him or spit on him if he was walking down the street. But because he's on a basketball court, suddenly fans think that they can act differently. And of course, that's not true. That's not the case. That's not acceptable. So yeah, this is a big issue that leagues are going to have to try and fix, but it reflects a systemic issue of how fans think about themselves when they enter arenas. It's unacceptable. It's disrespectful. It's something that should not be allowed. It's something that should go away as quickly as it possibly can in sports. And it's on us as consumers, as fans, as media members, people when they go to arenas to make sure the people you are with never get to the place and never act in the way that they did. And for you to do a little bit of soul searching rather and look inward to make sure you never get to a certain kind of place and act like that to a player as well.
Well, look, we know what would happen if this took place in the street, right? The guy who's able to put up triple doubles would put a beat down on that fan. And you have to realize athletes are people too. Just because you're a fan, it doesn't give you some sort of superpower, immunity power for them to just be there at your entertainment and you behave any which way you choose to, say anything that you think you want to say because it's a game, right? Or they're entertainers. And sometimes, in doing what we do and doing what I do, I have to try and examine, how harsh I might be or, make sure I'm not crossing lines personally. And that's the case with fans. Go there, have fun, chant, be loud, put your imprint on the game, but don't cross the line. This shouldn't be complicated. This should be the stuff that's common sense and you should know as a child. Don't act like a child, act like an adult.